Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my March 2021 Banlist prediction video. If you do want to see more of these, I have a bunch of other cards that I would like to talk about and I think that have a place in the banlist discussion. But I don't have them in this video because I don't think that they're going to be hitting those cards on this list or changing them on this list. So for now, we're just going to be talking about cards like True King of All Calamities. So obviously, I think that this card will be going to 0 because Virtual World is extremely oppressive when they summon this card. It does have an argument to put this card to 1, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they still have the card. If you do deal with the first one, you don't have to deal with the second one, which I guess is like the idea. But I think that it is just too oppressive. It makes sense for them to put this card to 0. Although Konami might still want to sell the set that the Virtual Worlds came in, the Phantom Rage, but I don't think that it matters all that much. I think that Calamities is just too oppressive. That's it for the banned section, actually. So moving on into the limited section, we have Firewall Dragon. So I think that this card is obviously getting the errata in the Ghost of the Past set, and it is a trash card. It'll probably be going to 1 and then to 3 on the subsequent list. They could just put it immediately to 3 because it's that bad. Moving on to the next card, we have Heavy Metalfoes Electromite. So I think that it's smart for Konami to put this card to 3 because it boosts the sales of Blazing Vortex, especially because we're not getting another core set, I think, until June. So that leaves Blazing Vortex up on the table for a very long time, and it's a really bad set. So it's going to have to carry pretty hard. So if they put Electromite to 1, it might boost the sales a little bit, and people will go and buy Metalfoes cards. I know personally I didn't buy any Blazing Vortex because it was that bad of a set. Moving on into our next card, we have Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. So this card was originally brought up by MST.TV, and the reason that this card was initially banned was because in Pepe you would summon 3 level 4 pendulums, make this, and then make Infinity, which was a free negate just by pendulum summoning, which was pretty broken. Pendulum is nerfed now, and why would you make Ptolemaeus when you can make IP or you can make Verte, which are way more generic and do effectively the same thing? In the case of Verte, you just summon Dragoon and then you have a free negate. Ptolemaeus is way more restrictive in the forms that you have to use 3 level 4 monsters specifically to make the Infinity or to make the Ptolemaeus. Or not the Ptolemaeus, but the Pleiades. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. You would literally just go for, Verte or IP. So that's my take on that. Then moving on into Elder Entity Norden. So I don't think that this probably won't come back the same list that the Ptolemaeus does, but it could come back this list and then the Ptolemaeus stays banned. But the reason that I have for this is that instant fusion is limited. So it's pretty unlikely that you'll draw the instant fusion, and if you do, summoning the Norden isn't that bad because obviously this will probably still be played in, decks like, combo decks. They'll still probably find a way to fit this card into their list, but I don't think it's really that oppressive since it's literally just a nerfed Monster Reborn. But it's also better than Monster Reborn in the forms that Monster Reborn would special summon itself, basically. So it's literally Monster Reborn if Monster Reborn special summons itself, right? I think that that's pretty good, but the reason that this card was initially banned is because it made too many rank 4s. It could also have a reason to be banned in this format because it's just link material, free link material. 2 free link materials without using your normal summon is pretty good. But I don't think that it is that broken because it doesn't require setup and it requires specific setup, right? So I don't think that it's that broken of a card. It could come back to 1 and it'll probably be fine. Next card we have is Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So the reason behind this is Eldritch plays this in the Extravagance builds, or I guess Guru does as well. And I think that that is pretty ridiculous that you can play Extravagance and Red Eyes Fusion in the same deck, and they don't conflict, and you just get free advantage. Which is really ridiculous. So I think that Red Eyes Dark Dragoon should go to 1, not to 0, because I don't think it's that broken, but I think that it'll force players to pick between Extravagance builds or Dragoon builds. And so I think it sort of forms like a dichotomy where you have to pick between one, whichever you think is better. I think a lot of people will be leaning towards the Dragoon build, but it basically forces them to not play Extravagance, which I think is a extremely smart choice. Next card we have is Orcust Harp Horror. This is fine to go to 1. Or I believe OCG has this at 3. I might have it at 1, but it's not good. It's fine. If it's at 1, it's at 3 because you can search it with Orcust Nightmare. It does effectively the same thing. So this is probably fine to go to 3 as well. But Orcus is just not that great of a deck anymore. Mermaid was the correct hit, and they should have stuck with that. Shouldn't have hit anything else. Next we have Cyber Angel Benton. So obviously if they're hitting Virtual World, they should probably hit Drytron since it's the next best deck. They shouldn't hit it as much because obviously it isn't as good as Virtual World is, so hitting the Benton to 1 is fine. It's pretty interesting to think how the Drytron deck will evolve with the Benton hit. Will they, still be playing the Light Fairy variant? I don't know. We'll have to see. Next card we have is Summon Limit going to 1. I think that this card should honestly be banned personally, but I think that Konami will be putting this card to 1 first before they ban it because it's very similar to Vanity's Emptiness in the sense that as soon as they hit the second summon, you flip this card and then the turn ends. Same thing with Vanity's Emptiness. It does effectively the same thing, except Vanity's Emptiness you could out with MST, targeting a separate back row. So you're dealing with 2 threats. You're dealing with another back row and a Vanity's Emptiness, which was really smart. So I think that this card is way more oppressive than Vanity's Emptiness ever could have been, and I think that this card should have been hit before Emptiness was hit, personally. Next card we have is Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. So obviously, Eldritch is a year old at this point, and I think that the deck is just really strong. And I think that hitting this to 1 kind of forces people that are playing control decks to kind of branch out and play other variants that aren't Eldritch decks, because if you're playing a control deck, you can just throw Eldritch in, and then you're good to go. I think that that is kind of unhealthy, and it forms, basically an Eldritch variant type deck. If you look at like top cuts of Eldritch, it's literally just like a bunch of variants of Eldritch, which I think is pretty ridiculous, honestly. And that does it for our limited section of the video. So moving on into semi-limited, we only have 2 cards here. I have Regeki going to 2. This card is not that good anymore, and I think it's honestly fine to go to 2. Honestly, it's fine to go to 3, but probably going to 2 first and then to 3 on the subsequent list, personally. I had this on the previous list, or like my previous ban list, like wish list for the January format, because Spirit Charmers was released at that time, so it would make sense for them to put this card to 3, and then Spirit Charmers can play 3 copies of Reigeki that they pulled from the structure deck. So that was my idea, but I don't think that they will do that. It also could have boosted sales of Spirit Charmers, but no one did that as well. Next card we have is Dynamite Knight, so I think that this card going to 2 is fine. True Draco is not that great of a card or deck anymore, so I think that this card is okay to go to 3. And then moving on into our unlimited section of the video, we have obviously True King's Return. This came to 2 on the previous list, so Konami is obviously going to put this to 3. I don't think there's anything else to say there. And the last card we have is Rusty Bardiche. This card does the same thing as 1 as it does at 3. Most Phantom Knights decks won't even play a second copy, because if you think about it, you can just summon this back with any of your Phantom Knight trap cards, which effectively is your second use of this card, so there's not really a whole lot of reason to put 3 more resources into a second Rusty when you could just summon the same Rusty back from your graveyard, right? So I think that that is fine if this card goes to it goes to 3 and it won't do anything. It's not, it's fine at 1 anyways, so I don't think that it makes a lot of sense to leave this card at 1. So that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you do want to see that other ban list discussion that I was talking about, let me know in the comment section below, and I will hopefully be doing one of those in the next couple of days. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.